Autobots, transform! Frenzy! Laserbeak, prepare for battle. Operation Warfare. Eject. Eject. Eject.
What is up, Transformers family? Welcome back to another episode of George Reviews. I am the 80s Transformer fan and continuing my 1984 catalog countdown. Today is Frenzy and Laserbeak, the second 2-pack and the second entry from the Decepticons at number 20 at our checklist. This is the original 1984 Transformers checklist of Autobots and Decepticons. We are now on number 20. Let's get these guys checked off at number 20 and let's get into the review. All right, in front of me and in this review, I will be taking a look at, as many cassette, Frenzy and Laserbeak, and let's discuss the elephant in the room. Just like in my previous review, there's controversy about this guy right here. People identify him as Rumble because the cartoon portrayed the two-tone blue mini robot humanoid cassette as Rumble.
Rumble, activate pile drivers. Operation Destruction.
And based on the facts, this is Frenzy. This is the name and character that Hasbro intended. They put it on the packaging. I mean, they made mistakes on the packaging too, but the cartoon flip-flopped. The cartoon got it wrong. They had a list of names and character identification sheet for the animators to go by. And on the animation sheet, it actually said Rumble, red or blue. Basically, they told the animators, take your pick. And the animators made Rumble blue in the cartoon, and man, people are very serious about it. But for me, it's not that serious, but it's definitely, at the same time, this is definitely Frenzy. But I get it. A lot of people watch the cartoon that never had the toys and all that, and identify this guy as Rumble. And actually, this color pattern is like the cooler of the two. So I mean, he was the most utilized character. But their characters were very much interchangeable. Let me get my Rumble out. I got his third-party pile driver. Just how I display him on his arms. But the characters, other than, if you don't read the file card, but they had the exact same voice actor. All of these cassettes, even Laserbeak, were voiced by Frank Welker. If you don't know, Frank Welker voiced Soundwave and Megatron and a few Constructicons and Ravage. But anyway, they all had the same voice actor, and dude, he actually portrayed these guys with the exact same voice. He could have modified it or whatever, but they're like duplicates and twins. Like a viewer once pointed out to me, there's like Tomax and Zaymont. You know, it's only a slight difference. So you really can't go wrong. You know, and I think anybody who really sticks on the beef between which one is which is just being a jerk. But, and that might be me a little bit. But anyway, this is Frenzy, and we're going to proceed from that point. And in 1984, Hasbro brought us the world of Transformers, and a toy line that is carried on and has been very popular to this day. But these guys got the toy line from Takara, and they were in a Diaclone micro change line. And in that toy line, obviously, these figures came in multiple colors. Like Laserbeak came in, what is it, a cobalt blue, or the toy that became Laserbeak. He actually came in these colors, but you can find him in a blue. And the toy that became Rumble and Frenzy, obviously they came in these two colors, and they came in a third color. They came in a blue and red in that toy line, and I like to bring that up because I love color variants. We eventually got the blue and red in a reissue, and he will make an appearance at some point in it. And what else I want to tell you from the micro change line? In that line, these were 1-to-1 scale household items that transformed and stayed this size. In the cartoon depiction and in the movies and the comic book, when Rumble transformed, he was about the size of a standard human. Actually, one time fighting Spike and I think Sparkplug, and they were pretty much the exact same height. But in the original intention of this toy line, he didn't get any bigger than this. He was a micro cassette that transformed. Same thing for the toy that became Laserbeak. And anyway, I'm not going to go as deep into that as I did in my last review. I'm just going to push on at this point. So I'm going to jump into what Hasbro gave us as far as these figures go and what they wanted us to know about continuity and play. All right, I'm going to start with Frenzy in his bio. It says Frenzy, cassette, function, warrior, motto, so panic and surrender will bloom. If Frenzy needs to breathe, war will be his oxygen. He knows no cause, only craves the spread of fear and destruction. His efforts are appreciated by other Decepticons. His devotion to warfare makes him hard to deal with on a personal level. Can roll his drums to produce high-pitched grating sounds of 200 decibels. Disorients and disrupts electrical flow of opponent's circuitry, which makes them malfunction. Physically weak, his manic attack can be countered with cool logic, so he don't ever want to see prowl. Okay, his technical readout is as follows. His strength is a 3. His intelligence is a 6. His speed is a 2. His endurance is a 6. His rank is a 5. His courage is a 10. He boasts a firepower of 9. And his skill is a 6. Wow, I mean, this guy, he can take down Optimus with firepower of a 9, man. Okay, next up is Laserbeak. Laserbeak, micro cassette, function, interrogation. Never knew that. The only point I like in Autobots is melting point. Laserbeak takes pleasure in hunting his prey, usually the straggling survivors of battle. Noticeably not brave, will run from safety if threatened. Flies at speeds of up to 250 miles per hour. Uses 2 independently targetable laser cannons with extreme precision to get information from captives. Shortage of ruby crystals that power his lasers can panic his systems into shutting down. Laserbeak's strength is a 5. His intelligence is a 6. His speed is a 8. His endurance is a 5. His rank is a 6. His courage is a 2. His firepower is at an 8. And his skill level is at a 9. Man, his numbers are like, his strength level is above Frenzy's strength level. And okay, so moving on. And just in case, this guy, after 1984, I think he was released in a 2-pack with Rat Bat. When Rat Bat was introduced, and he came with gold weapons, so you can find this guy with gold weapons and silver chrome weapons. And speaking of which, let's get into this guy. Let's take a look at Frenzy's face. And obviously it looks a lot like the cartoon. The cartoon made a few changes, made his head a little bit more blocky. But there it is. He has unpainted eyes. I have a version with painted eyes. Silver face, blue plastic head. Has some molded in circuitry detailed. The Decepticon logo right there. Some stickers on his legs. Mine are worn. Coming down to die-cast feet. He has die-cast in his shoulder joints just here. And he has die-cast at his elbow joint. And again, chrome weapons on his back. These are not his vintage weapons. When I bought this guy, he had one of them was broke and the chrome was worn so bad. So he's actually wearing some KO weapons. But they look pretty comparable to the real deal. I keep saying I'm going to get some vintage weapons just so he can have them. But anyway, Frenzy is a micro cassette. So let's check out his articulation. His head doesn't do anything. It bobs in and out just because it transforms that way. We can take his arms, get his arms up this far. And we can rotate that arm fully 360 right there on that little joint. He has an elbow bend. And get it this far because it transforms and goes just like that. And that is pretty much it. Let's take a look at his little molded hand. He has a molded in little thumb right there and all his little molded in fingers. Okay, his waist has nothing. And his legs, because of transformation, we can get this guy out here. He can actually do the splits for us if he needed to in battle or something like that. He 360s at that joint if you wanted it to. His little peg hanging out right there for transformation. He has a knee bend, and it is their transformation or not. And his feet really don't do anything, but they slot in and out right there for transformation. And again, they are die cast, and this is Frenzy. So, oh, and he has the little Decepticon logo right there, which is always nice. I love the logo over the rub sign. No, this guy is pre-rub. No rub symbol on him. I'm going to transform him now. You have to take his weapons off his back. Oh, let me show you this. He can also use the weapons on his back as a weapon. Get his hand slightly transformed a little bit. If I can, he's really stiff on that die cast joint. And you just take this weapon and slide it over his arm. And now he's armed for battle, which is pretty cool. And it could be like a triple laser, like one right here, one right here, and one right here. It's a pretty cool looking weapon. Not bad at all. Okay, I'm going to continue to disarm him and get him transformed. So, let's rotate his arms up to the top. Man, it feel like it want to break. And you can use his hands to push his head in, or you can just push his head in. Same thing on this side. Just maybe we should be using the cassette side to build it. And slot in his feet. Just slide them in like that and rotate it around. It's pretty simple. Pretty much laid out, especially with the stickers. And he's missing a couple going across the top. But here is Frenzy transformed in his cassette mode. And he has a sticker to depict the label of the cassette. He has MC60 right here, metal position right here, side A right here. And again, no rub sign. This is a pre-rub figure. And here is Frenzy cassette mode. I'll set him down. He'll stand up. Will he stand up in cassette mode? Nope. There you go. Guess it depends on where I put it on the surface. All right, and I'm going to move on to Laserbeak. Now, Laserbeak transforms into a condor in his non-disguise mode. And I don't know how much of a condor this looks like with his squared off corners, but I do love the detailing in this guy. He has a gold chrome eye or eyes, nice beak and mouth under there. He has this really mean look to his face, a sculpted like, this is an eyebrow up here, some sculpting ridges under here, Decepticon logo on his forehead, and it is worn, but it is there. I believe this guy is pre-rub. Also, his weapons are tattered, they're dented at the top, the chrome's coming off, and the toy has twin lasers. There is, mine's dusty as hell. There's a laser molded in here. And then he has the laser that goes on top. And it's actually, let me go back to, this is a reissue card back. This isn't a real one. And you can see the other laser is chromed out. He has dual cannons on both sides, which is very, very cool. And it was not drawn in a cartoon, and a lot of people miss out on it. You can see the mechanical workings of his feet and claws at the front and back to the side of the large claw, and like a little gear in the back. And if we examine the toy, we can actually see this little claw right here. This is a front and back, and it's meant to pick up his prey, like right here. And then you can see the mechanical workings, the pistons and gears right there. Some really cool molded in detail in his bird mode or condor mode that actually goes unnoticed. His wings are just like parts of the cassette, but they do articulate. So let's get to his articulation right now. He has a shoulder hinge. I believe that's his shoulder on the bird. Don't know a bird's anatomy, so never thought I would have to actually know it at some point in life. But anyway, he has the hinge here. He has a hinge at the head right there, and he can get this much range of motion out of it. Nothing side to side. And if you wanted to, you can slide it in for maybe attack mode or something like that because of transformation. And his joints are surprisingly good after all this time and the wear to this toy. His wings, you can move his wings forward like this, and different positions, nesting, perching, and the transformed position. And you can get them all the way out, and forgive the pun, spread eagle, like this, or you can pull them back. A few different options. And this feet, no real articulation, but they go back for transformation. They won't do it because right now, because the weapons are plugged in. Whew, it's a lot of wear to the weapons. But yeah, you can get that out of. So that is Laserbeak, and you would think that Laserbeak would be packaged with Soundwave, because the cartoon had Soundwave ejecting Laserbeak a lot more than Buzzsaw, but Laserbeak comes packaged with Frenzy. They are a team set. So let me get Laserbeak transform. Take his weapons off just like that, and I don't think they have no other function other than just sitting on his back. Tuck his head away. And he has a molded in rear tail right here into the die cast. And this entire part, the red part, is all die cast, by the way. So tuck that one away. Now we can freely fold these feet down and flip them over. And now we have his cassette mode. And in this cassette mode, we see the 60 minutes, the side A. And it says micro cassette on his. I can see it. Like at that top line is micro cassette. Then it says metal position right there. So in Japan, right there. And again, both these guys are pre-rub. I bought these guys from the same dealer roughly 20 years ago. And I want to show you one thing that I didn't point out in my last review. This is Ravage. Ravage, out of all these cassettes, Ravage is the only one where his label is actually painted on. Now let's take these cassettes I'm going to bring out. This is Walmart Soundwave. You just eject Soundwave's chest door. I'm going to start with Frenzy. Put him in the chest. And check out his ejectability. And he ejects just fine. And now for Laserbeak, put him in with the label facing forward. He goes in either way. Put him in and he ejects just fine. Just in case you wanted to see, we can turn him around. Put him back in. Ejects just fine. He cannot hold 2 tapes or more. You will break it. I mean, you could, if you want to do some photography or something, you could actually get 2 in here and kind of make it look cool in a picture, like he's just ejecting tapes everywhere. So that is these guys. Play feature, you kind of needed Soundwave to continue play with these guys, or have more play value with these guys. Or I guess you could put them on your parents' desk as a kid and have them sit there. Which brings me to another thing. I wonder why. I know some KO people did it. Why they didn't make any clear cassettes? Because in real life, most mini cassettes that I've seen in my childhood and in my life were clear tapes. And I wanted to get the KO versions a couple times, but they had like a really stupid ass high price on them. And I was like, I'm not paying that. And then they actually sold out and went up in price. And I was like, damn. But yeah, I wish I had grabbed a couple of those clear ones. Then they started making them in like translucent clear orange and translucent clear blue. And then I kind of passed on those guys too. But yeah, here are the real deal Frenzy and Laserbeak. All right, I got these guys back in their robot mode so we can move forward. And I want to give these guys the size up and rundown. And because I try to make each review different, in my last review, I separated the cassettes for the size up and rundown. But in this review, I'm going to leave them both in, so it's a little bit different. First, I'm going to bring out the Masterpiece Laserbeak alongside this Laserbeak. And this one is so cartoon accurate. I mean, it actually looks like a bird this time around. Here is Masterpiece Rumble. Next up, I have, I think it's Earthrise Laserbeak. Which one? I think that was Earthrise Laserbeak. Next to the G1 Laserbeak. Now I want to bring in Blaster and Perceptor from Generation 1 and in the movie, and I have to adjust the camera now. Previously reviewed Rumble and Ravage. Here they are with Ratbat. And here they are next to themselves as cassettes and robots. G1 Optimus Prime. G1 Soundwave. Masterpiece Soundwave. And Earthrise Soundwave. All right, let me hit you with my toy story for these figures. As a kid, these things were very hard to find. The Decepticons, period, were hard to find for me as a kid. And it wasn't until it was like at the end of '85 when I finally found these guys. A friend of mine, I was into G.I. Joes and I got out of G.I. Joes for Transformers. Then I started phasing back into Joes, and a friend of mine came over on his bike, asked me to ride to Toys R Us with him to toy hunt some Joes. And I had given up on finding these guys at all. And we went looking for some Joes, and we walk in and they had nothing but a peg full of Frenzy and Laserbeak. And I was so geeked up. I didn't even buy any Joes that day. I grabbed this guy, rode my bike home, and it kind of renewed at that point my playing with Transformers. And then I actually had Laserbeak to eject instead of Buzzsaw, because Soundwave never really kicked out Buzzsaw, but that's a story for Buzzsaw's review. And I finally had Laserbeak to fly around because he was just so iconic. He was ejected so many times, did so much damage. It was awesome. And my favorite Rumble Frenzy moment, and he had a few good one-liners. If on Decepticon turf you happen to tumble, look out, robot, here comes Rumble. Yeah. No one calls Soundwave uncharismatic. Yeah, let's kick tailgate. He had a few one-liners. He had a lot of moments to love from this little guy, little street punk. And those are my stories and my moments for these figures. What are yours? Do you have a Transformer story? What was your favorite Frenzy Laserbeak moment? Or you can say Rumble. What was your favorite from the cartoon, from your childhood, from your toys? What is your toy story? Because that's what these reviews are all about. Just a flashback to the past and remembering the good times with these beautiful, beautiful toys. About also, these things have been reissued a ton of times. Most recently, doing this again, Walmart reissued these guys. These are the reissue packs. There are differences. You can see the white writing on the tapes, the over shiny stickers, and the different rub sign logos on all of these. And on Laserbeak weapons, they cut the tips off the weapons. So there are a lot of difference. And these things have a ton of knockoffs out there. They have been knocked off for 10 years now. I believe the knockoffs have gotten a lot better, but they are knockoffs. I actually have a knockoff. Here is my knockoff. Actually, this is not. This is a reissue. This is a reissue. And on this this is the car reissue. You can see that the reds are two different colors. This one is almost an orange on this one, and the Decepticon symbol is ridged on the top of his head, where this one is like straight across, even though it's like fading off. The vintage sticker on Laserbeak is a little bit more glossy. This one has like a foggy haze on the reissue. On all the reissues, it's like the stickers are a little bit more foggy. And this is a Takara reissue, so the lasers aren't cut. Oh, the weapons. This is key. A vintage Laserbeak and Buzzsaw weapons sit closer together. This crease in here is closer than, if I can straighten them out, a reissue. If you can see it, you should be able to see it. The gap is larger over here. So that's a telltale sign. And I believe in this shot, you can see the difference in the stickers. The reissue is a lot more smoky. Here is my reissue Frenzy. And the cool thing about this reissue, they actually painted his eyes cartoon red, which is really cool. And again, the Decepticon symbol is not quite cut the same as this one. Doesn't look the same. The purple is richer, and the sticker itself is more reflective. He has the die-cast feet. And these, even though they're old, they got like a wash over the die-cast, where these have just a darker metal. So they are different. This isn't just wear. That's how it looks. And the sticker is a little bit more blue. Just in case you want to know. Just to add a little something to this review. Speaking of adding a little bit to the review, when we got the Masterpiece figure, we finally got his pile drivers. In the Marvel comic book in the 80s, Rumble and Frenzy would make the pile driving effect by stomping their feet on the ground to create that effect. But in the cartoon, they drew in these things, and Hasbro Takar never gave them to us until like 35 years later, 30 years later, whatever it was. A third party called Crazy Debbie actually gave us some pile drivers a little bit over 10 years ago, and man, I use these things every day. This is how I display it. This is why I have a KO, to put the pile drivers on the KO. You just position the arms, and these are the pile drivers, and they just slide over the arms. There's a left one and there's a right one, obviously. And then you have that look from the 80s that should have been done years ago. Boom, 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 boom. How many times as a kid we wish we had these, because that was the coolest thing about him. He was like, would shake the ground. I remember he broke the ground, attacked one of the Dinobots. Oh, and they move up and down. You see, obviously I'm moving them. But he attacked the Dinobots, but Sludge sidestepped his ass and sent the earthquake back at him, and he fell in. No fear! But man, that would have been so cool if we got that. And I also have some for Rumble. These are slightly different. This was before the third party thing kicked off, to where a third party were like large scale companies. Some guy, I guess with a 3D printer, made these 12 years ago or more. And I grabbed these for this guy, and then I grabbed these from Crazy Debbie. I got these off of Big Bad Toy Store a long time ago, like over 10 years ago. I had these over 12 years. So I actually display these guys with pile drivers because I dreamed of pile drivers as a kid. I think we all dreamed of pile drivers as a kid. And again, okay, Transformers family, that is all I have today for this review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I want to thank you for watching another episode of George Reviews, the reviews where every toy has a story.
Autobots, transform!